Lightlark by Alex Allister. This book is Hunger Games meets Carnival meets like Magic the Gathering. If any of you guys know that card game or card games like it, everyone in this well, not everyone in the kingdom. There's different kingdoms and different rulers, and every kingdom has different powers. However, they also have a curse, and so it'll be like they can control the wind or they can control the seas or whatever, but they can't go out in the sun, for example. So like they had a really terrible curse but also extraordinary powers. I thought it was an original concept. Also, and then it's like the Hunger Games esque, where all the rulers come together and do these tournaments, but also one of them is going to die. It was different than the Hunger Games, though, in that um, one of the rulers has to die to fulfill the prophecy to get rid of the curses. But if whichever kingdom's ruler is killed, everyone in that ruler's kingdom dies. So it's very high stakes. What I found really confusing, there were a lot of things that didn't really make any sense whatsoever. So, like, for example, killing one of the rulers in the kingdom fulfills one part of the prophecy, but no one was really making a huge attempt to work together to fulfill the prophecy. And that just didn't really make any sense whatsoever to me, because even if you kill somebody, then you're just fulfilling one part. There wasn't a lot of communication between the different groups. Just didn't make any sense, and that was just a continuous issue. For example, the female lead keeps saying how important alliances are in this game, but then she doesn't actively try and make any. One specific point that did not make any sense to me is she has this moment where she runs into one of the other rulers named Azul, and they share this bond of music. And then so you're like, okay, this might go somewhere. It didn't. Like they never ever talked really again. She never makes an effort to make an alliance with this guy. What was the point of this moment? I don't really know. Why would you not try and make alliances if you know that's how you survive in this game? I don't know. Another thing that didn't make any sense is the romance scene. There's one specific the romance in this did not feel genuine or true. Like it all felt very forced and unnatural. And one of the points didn't even make sense. So the female lead basically decides she's basically deciding between these two guys, the like ruler of Lightlark and then also the ruler of the Nightshades. And then she basically decides which one she's gonna get with because one of them betrays her. And it's like you should not be with someone just because the other guy didn't work out. And the romance scene was there's a romance scene also where she confronts one of the guys and is like, "Oh, you betrayed me." And then it's like, "Okay, let's make out." I'm sorry. Nothing turns me on more like than the scent of betrayal, right? Like it just made no sense. And for me, like I'm someone that for me to like a book, I have to connect with the characters, and I just could not understand her like romantic interest in any way. It actually made me not like the character, the main character, which was really sad because I feel like outside of the romance, she was really interesting. So in this, everyone has powers except for her. And because she has no powers, her kingdom is dying. Because the kingdom's ruler like helps like nourish their kingdom, and so because she doesn't have any powers, her kingdom is dying. And because of that, like she's learned how to use a sword from a very young age, how to be really strong from a really young age, um really diplomatic. She is such an interesting character, but the romance scenes just like did not do it for me. One thing that I will also say is that I feel like her teachers were honestly abusive. They were kind of like Abby Lee Miller but worse. Um like there's one scene where she has to keep her she has to keep holding from this tree for like so long, or like she won't get this reward which she's been like waiting for years and years for. I forget what it was. I think she like wanted it to go out to this event maybe because like they literally locked her away and imprisoned her and she can't get out. So they're literally holding her hostage. She's hanging from this tree and her shoulder pops out and they're like, oh wait, we won't even give you medicine for that because you need to toughen up. Like we're very aggressive and abusive. And then it felt like she had like a trauma bond to them, like she loved them because they were the only people that she knew. Like it was dark, and I feel like the book never really addressed how shady they were. Like it was like, oh, it's okay because they were training her for this moment. I don't think that gives them a right to do that stuff. Um Also, this isn't like a huge big deal, but it drove me insane. So she kept commenting on how she hated the tight clothing that her teachers gave her. So basically the teachers made a um like a plan for her success by basically seducing the kingdom's the Lightlark's ruler, because he's like the most powerful, and it literally made no sense because it was like he's been doing these tournaments for 500 years. You don't think that any other female ruler has ever tried to seduce him? And it also didn't make any sense because it literally said over and over, like literally every other page, how like turned off the ruler was to romantic um involvement, because once you fall in love with somebody, like they gain your powers. And since the Lightlark's ruler had all the powers from all the different kingdoms, like he has to protect Lightlark by not giving anyone those powers. So then it was like, so then your whole plan is to do something that people have failed to do for 500 years. That's the plan. That literally makes no sense. It didn't make any sense. And then also, she's like, okay, I'm not going to do my teacher's plan, and I hate this tight clothing. So then when I go to the person who makes clothes, who is that? I'm forgetting. I the seamstress, the tailor, I think the tailor, that's his name. So when she goes to the tailor and he's like, what type of clothes you want? She's like, oh, I want tight clothing. It's like, why did you mention this literally every single page, how you hate tight clothing? Literally every single page, if then you're gonna go buy it. Doesn't make any sense, and it was just so annoying because it mentioned it like 500 million times. It drove me insane. Also, this part is going to be a spoiler, but one of the so like the whole book is about how like if they kill one of the rulers, then the whole kingdom dies. But then at the very end, they figure out they were able to save Lightlark and break the curse, but also doesn't explain how they killed one of the rulers and saved Lightlark, but also nobody in that kingdom died. Like it, that was the whole premise, that the whole kingdom is then gonna die because that's the curse. How did you sidestep around that? How did you do that? Break it down for me. And it never explained it. It was just like, oh, they managed to. Great. What an explanation. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. It drove me insane. So basically, I gave this 2 stars. I thought it was an original idea. I just feel like the whole book was not thought through very well at all. It just it needed more time to kind of work out the kinks of the story. And